I'm Jonathan Schleifer from the Fairness Project. Nice. Thank you for having me here. Um, I'm so excited to be able to talk about the work that we've done with Jobs with Justice. Um, a little background of our history together. At the Fairness Project, we like to say, and our work, much like BISC, is solely focused on using, as Chris says, the people's tool, the ballot initiative, to go around the broken political system to get things done when they really can't be accomplished otherwise. And we like to say that rule number one for us is win, and rule number two is don't lose. Because if we lose, then we give the other side a terrible talking point, right? They are able to claim that people aren't with them, even if there were lots of other things that may have been standing in the way of a win. And so when we consider a campaign, and the Fairness Project's role is as early funder, and we provide technical assistance throughout the campaign in partnership with local groups. And so when we look at a campaign, we look for four things. We look to see if the policy is deeply impactful. Is it going to change the lives at scale? Second is we look to see is the public supporting it. So that means investing in polling. The third thing we look to see is if there are the resources there for it, the money to fund the ballot initiative so we can win. And the last thing we look for is a grassroots coalition. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today, because JWJ has made it so easy to check that last box for the two campaigns we've worked on together, minimum wage and Medicaid expansion. And thinking back, and there's a part of the minimum wage story that isn't really out there, and hopefully I know journalists on this call, but basically the polling for the minimum wage ballot initiative was not looking good for a long time. And as the Fairness Project and some other allies, the funding space, we're thinking about, is it worth investing in minimum wage in Missouri? The polling wasn't there. And in many other states, that would be disqualifying. But what we saw in JWJ was a deep commitment to the issue, a rigorous organization that was going to work their asses off to get it done, that was going to be able to change hearts and minds through their efforts, and that was going to lead the way. And so even though, of our four criteria, the polling just didn't look like it was going to get there, we had such faith in JWJ and the leadership that we decided to make an investment in that minimum wage ballot initiative. And thank God we did, because a few months later, we had collected the signatures. A lot of work was done by JWJ, and the polling started getting better. And had we not had the faith in the team there and had been so inspired and had been so certain that the team in JWJ could pull this through, we never would have gone through with minimum wage, and the wage would not have gone up. And so when we started talking to you all about what was next, and I actually remember talking to Richard at a BISC conference while we were in the middle of the minimum wage fight, and we were like, all right, what's after minimum wage? We haven't won it yet, but this has been such a great, it's been such an inspiring relationship to be a part of, that the Fairness Project was looking to do more in Missouri, because we loved working with this team. And so, we had already been working on Medicaid expansion elsewhere, and Medicaid expansion just seemed so right. And it was just so easy for us to go from one to the other, from one issue to the other. And, we won the minimum wage, we won Medicaid expansion. We're looking for what's next already. We're excited to figure that out, because we're not slowing down. And I think, it really has been from Laura and Richard and Caitlin's leadership that has just made it so easy as funders to say, we can trust that the right decisions are being made on the ground that are going to do two things. One is that it's going to lead to a win. To go back to rule number one is win, rule number two is don't lose. We know that the decisions that are being made on the ground are going to lead to a win. The second thing, and this is something that Chris and the folks at BISC have really helped make clear, is that not only we're leading to a win on the second Tuesday in November, but that the efforts that we invest on that day are being carried forward in building sustainable power from cycle to cycle in the ballot space. And maybe I'm not sure what the electoral status is of this call, if I'm allowed to say this, but also building sustainable power that impacts and empowers progressives at every single level, whether running for office, whether they are trying to build their own movements, whether they are taking on issues that we're not even discussing today. So I think what's so exciting about this work we do together, and why we want to keep coming back and investing in Missouri, is because JWJ is there, because we know we win on election day, and we know that all the efforts that we put in don't just go away the day after we win, but they're actually being carried and sustained by an organization with powerful leadership that knows how to leverage each of those wins into something greater. So thank you so much for having me today. I love being a part of this work,